According to media reports, the Chinese Navy's third aircraft carrier Fujian Ship sailed out of the mouth of the Yangtze River in November, or entered the Yellow Sea for its fifth test voyage. Some experts even analyze that this trial voyage may include the landing and takeoff training of the Airborne Airborne Early Warning (AW) aircraft and the J-15T catapult takeoff carrier-based fighter jet. This indicates that the Fujian Ship is one step closer to having full operational capability, and China will leave the combat power of British and French aircraft carriers far behind. More military experts analyze that China's carrier ambitions are certainly more than Fujian Ship. If all goes well, the Chinese Navy will build at least 6 more nuclear-powered aircraft carriers in the next 10 years. By then, China's sea defense and maritime power consciousness will also be further enhanced. The just-concluded Zhuhai Airshow revealed a series of new carrier aircraft, such as the J-15T, J-15D, and J-35, all of which are unprecedented changes. Why is China's military aviation department focusing on exposing so many new shipboard aircraft at this time? Is it just to gain some praise and awe for the rise of a great power? Definitely not. In fact, some semi-official and civil organizations in China have previously shown the outside world that China has built with the United States Nimitz-class and Ford-class supercarriers similar to the aircraft carrier design, but not just a carrier. The aircraft carrier is just a platform. It's real combat power from its flight deck takeoff of the carrier aircraft. According to the Zhuhai Airshow on the J-15T, J-15D technical and tactical capabilities of the U.S. Navy's common F divided by a -18 E divided by F, 18G equivalent. As for the J-35 just came out, the design goal is of course to be able to suppress the U.S. Army has just been equipped with a short period of time of the F-35C. In this way, the U.S. Navy carriers on the carrier wing of the main aircraft type, Fujian Ship, basically have a similar model. As for the technical and tactical comparison of the J-35 and F-35C, due to the lack of accurate information, it is difficult to say which is stronger or weaker, or who could be much stronger, who could be much weaker, but the J-35's built-in bomb bay has been able to hang the latest type of folding wings of the Thunderbolt, 15 long-range air-air missiles, and the U.S. Navy's F-35C equipped with an in-service over-the-horizon air-air missiles are still the AIM-120D, the U.S. Air Force's development of. The more advanced AIM-260 under development by the U.S. Air Force is not yet in service, and the AIM-174 that has been revealed cannot be hung in the F-35C's built-in bomb bay at all. Therefore, it can be said that the J-35 has a slight advantage over the F-35C in terms of air combat weapons. From the above, China's aircraft carrier aircraft family, shipborne fighters, including shipborne catapult takeoff fighters and the supporting electronic warfare attack aircraft technology, has been very mature. But the other key weapon, shipborne airborne early warning aircraft, which is rumored to be Airborne Police 600, has not yet been officially announced. Although from the recently revealed news of the Fujian Ship's fifth test voyage, it is speculated that it may contain the Airborne Early Warning aircraft, but why the aircraft is delayed in the official announcement probably also confirms that the technology has not yet matured. As China's research institutes are among the world's leading providers of radar and electronic equipment, the Airborne Early Warning System 600 is more likely to be delayed because of issues related to flight performance, especially engine technology. Once this piece of shortboard, the Chinese carrier aircraft family in quality, basically with the U.S. Nimitz-class or Ford-class supercarrier fleet of carrier aircraft on a par. Of course, until the technology of the Airborne Early Warning Aircraft, AWACS, on board the Airborne Alert 600 is fully matured, the Chinese carrier battle group can be provided with critical intelligence information by land-based Airborne Alert 500s and large unmanned aerial vehicles, such as the undetectable 7. The U.S. Nimitz class has a flight deck area of 18,000 square meters, equivalent to the area of 3 soccer fields. The deck design of the Ford-class carriers is more optimized than that of the Nimitz class, with a more compact island and a more rearward position, which makes it more convenient for commanders to direct the movement of the carrier aircraft on the flight deck, as well as their takeoff and landing. In contrast, because Fujian is still a conventionally powered carrier, its power system includes heavy oil boilers and steam turbines, So the island needs to be designed to accommodate the chimney, and the hull needs to accommodate the large and bulky steam turbines. This invariably limits the extent to which the Fujian Ship's carrier aircraft can maximize the use of space inside the ship. However, compared to the previous two Chinese carriers, Liaoning and Shandong, Fujian has already made great progress, especially in the configuration of the flight deck, the shape and size of the island, and the design of the compartments inside the ship, which has completely departed from the style of the Soviet carriers, and is basically very close to the style of the US and Western aircraft carriers. From some open-source intelligence channel analysis, a reasonable explanation is that China's relevant military research institutions, shipbuilding departments, are jointly on the ship nuclear power system technology public relations. Since China has no previous experience in building marine nuclear power systems, it can be said to start from scratch. So the accumulation and maturation process of technology is slower, but ultimately it is all about building a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. Although the overall technology of Fujian ships than the Liaoning and Shandong ships have made great progress, but due to the use of the traditional heavy oil boiler for the power system. So in combat, there are many technical shortcomings. Mainly daily operation consumes a large amount of heavy oil. While the ship's fuel reserves are limited, storage of heavy oil, the carrier aircraft with aviation kerosene will be less. In addition, the Liaoning uses heavy fuel oil boilers. In addition, the use of heavy fuel oil boilers to power the Liaoning also has the problem of slow startup of the power system, and the 8 boilers often need several hours of ignition time, which is obviously difficult to meet the demand for rapid combat. Because of the many technical shortcomings of the conventional power carriers, the U.S. Navy has long given up the Kitty Hawk and other conventional power carriers. China's top military and political leaders are also well aware of the problems. So the Ford ship can also be seen as an experimental platform. It is the next step in the development of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers' stepping stone. Previously, it was revealed in the U.S. media that a land-based shipboard nuclear power reactor had been built in China's Sichuan province. In March 2024, during the 2 sessions, the Chinese Naval Political Commissar Yuan Huaji said, China's aircraft carriers do not have any technical bottlenecks. Whether the 4th carrier is nuclear-powered, we'll soon be able to know. This is clearly an official declaration by the Chinese military hierarchy that China is building a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. China's subsequent ability to build new aircraft carriers has been under development. Sources say that China's Jiangnan shipyard in Chongming, Shanghai, has shown no signs of starting work on a new carrier more than 2 years after the Fujian ship was launched. Could it be that China's top military and political leaders have decided to suspend construction of a new carrier? Obviously not. China's development of aircraft carriers is a staged approach, crossing the river by feeling the stones. Through the Liaoning and Shandong ships, it has mastered the key technology of the slip-and-fly aircraft carrier. Through the Fujian ship, it has mastered the key technology of the electromagnetic catapult aircraft carrier. The next step is to master the key technology of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, which is undoubtedly more difficult than the first 2 steps. Once China breaks through the key technology of nuclear power reactors for ships, then Dalian Shipyard and Jiangnan Shipyard may start building nuclear-powered carriers at the same time. And with the organizational discipline of the Chinese working class and the guarantee of a steady increase in national defense funding, at least 6 nuclear-powered carriers can be built in 10 years. For a long time, the Chinese Army has the concept of sea defense, but not the concept of sea power, until the Chinese Navy in the Somali waters to start escort operations, only to form a primary awareness of sea power. Once the Chinese Navy has 6 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, such a carrier lineup can no longer cruise in the East China Sea, the Taiwan Strait, and the South China Sea, because that is not only a waste of national defense resources, but also unable to safeguard China's interests around the world. Once the 6 carriers are in place, it is expected that at least 2 carriers will be stationed in the Indian Ocean all year round in order to defend China's maritime energy routes to the Middle East. At the same time, at least 2 carriers will be stationed in the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean coastline in order to defend China's maritime trade routes to Europe and the Americas.